calling 2022 CR 2717, State of Texas versus Anna Ramirez. Can I have the parties approach and announce for the record, please?
Michael Miller, Catholic State.
And are you Miss Ramirez? All right. So were there pretrial motions heard on this case? All right, then why is the box checked that I'm giving her permission to appeal?
That I don't know.
All right, so if you all want to fill out a new trial court certification of defendant's rights to appeal.
Okay.
All right. The document is over on the box on this side. All right, we're here for sentencing. You entered a plea on July 7th. You applied for deferred adjudication. According to the plea bargain agreement, punishment is to be assessed at 4 years in the prison, and the state is remaining silent on your application for deferred adjudication. Have both parties had a chance to review the PSI report, state?
Yes, Your Honor.
Defense?
Yes.
Any objections to the PSI report, state?
No, Your Honor.
Defense?
Just a few factual corrections.
Yes.
My client has had a psychological through CPS. It stated in there that she hadn't. She has completed some college. Her income was a little bit more than stated at $3,800, and then her primary language is Spanish, secondary is English. We just wanted to make those on the record. Other than that, I think no other objection.
All right, Ms. Ramirez, can you raise your right hand for me, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God? All right, you can lower your hand. Make sure you keep your voice up. I've just been informed by your counsel that English is not your first language. It's Spanish, is that correct?
Yes, but I am.
All right, so you don't need an interpreter? All right, thank you. All right, the state is silent, so defense.
Your Honor, at this time, we would ask that you grant Ms. Ramirez the deferred adjudication. After reading over the PSI, we just wanted to highlight a couple of pieces of information. My client has been going through her CPS case for about 18 months now. She has completed several courses. The event that is listed in there to include the topics of the family violence, the violence education, parenting, anger management. She has also been ongoing through continued counseling. She was going through Mr. Carlos Castillo until just this last July. We were supposed to start trial at that time. He didn't schedule her any other sessions with him, so she went on her own to seek additional counseling through somebody that was provided through her insurance.
Everyone, please make sure you whisper. Yes.
And so she is still continuing, and she is very proactive and continuing counseling really to try to understand how her behavior that made the children even specifically feel victimized, how she can change it going forward. In the PSI, I believe it does say that the child was hospitalized. We also just wanted to clarify that they had went to take photos. There was no hospitalization of the children. And in addition to that, Your Honor, we just wanted to also highlight that although the PSI it seems to highlight specifics of one side of the story, there was also no mention in there about Miss Nancy Kellogg stating that the injuries did seem from Evelyn as consistent with the bite and the iron and not of abuse, as well as Evelyn did not make any outcry, and when specifically probed about what Ethan had stated, had given a completely different version of the events. In any event, Your Honor, my client is working. She would like to continue to go to counseling. We do have a trial in her CPS case on Thursday and Friday.
Mm-hmm.
And so she is asking for her children to be returned. I understand that CPS is asking for her to be terminated, but she would like the opportunity to work probation, get continued services, and then continue with her job at Wells Fargo.
Okay, so this is what
The judge here is the epitome of, I've heard it all before, so don't waste my time. While the defense lawyer is busy trying to spin a story that's more tangled than a reality TV plotline, the judge is calmly cutting through the nonsense like a pro, making sure the paperwork's in order and not buying any of the emotional fluff. It's almost impressive how the judge manages to stay unfazed while everyone else is scrambling to explain why hospitalization was just photos and how ongoing counseling magically erases a criminal record. In the end, the judge knows exactly what's going on, and it's clear that reality is about to come crashing down, no matter how many excuses are thrown out.
the court is trying to understand. according to the stipulations, and this is what you stipulated to, it says that the victim, which is one of the children, made an outcry at school of abuse while at home. R1 said that victim 2 was found to have a large welt on his left upper thigh as a result of being struck by his mother. R1 said that his sister goes to the same school as victim 2, and she was also interviewed by school staff. It was discovered that victim 1 had bruising on both inner thighs and also had a burn mark to her right inner thigh that she said was from a steam iron. R1 said that when asked how she was injured, victim 1 said that she fell off her bike. R1 said that victim's injuries were not consistent with falling off a bike. R1 said that victim was asked how she got the burn mark. R1 stated that victim 1 stated that her mother told her to unplug and put away a still hot steam iron, and she accidentally dropped it on her leg, causing the stated burn. So are you saying that you didn't cause any of these injuries to the children?
On her thigh, I actually didn't see her fall off her bike.
I want to talk about the welt mark from the other child. Yes.
So on Ethan, when I asked him in front of the caseworker, what were they referring to? All he did was just lift the pants that he had on, and all you saw was the bruise on his lower leg.
So are you saying you didn't do it?
I didn't strike him with a belt.
All right, and then on the PSI report on page 4, it says, Ms. Torres stated Ethan spoke of being in a closet for hours at a time. He feared of what would happen if he came out. He stated he was scared, bored, and hungry. He stated some of his siblings would check on him and play with him. He also spoke of a time when his mother choked him off the ground for losing his church book and slapping him. He spoke of being hungry and his mother not feeding him. So if none of this is true, why did you enter a plea? Why not go to a jury trial?
Because of communication that we had with the children's attorney. We created advisory system responsibility.
No. Do you want a jury trial? We'll give you one today. We have a jury outside. That'll be here at 1:30. You want a jury trial? That's either yes or no.
No.
All right. Is there anything else from either side? All right. And defense, do you feel that your client's entering into this plea bargain agreement was voluntary?
Yes.
All right. And Ms. Ramirez, was anything offered to you other than the plea bargain agreement?
Is that my friend?
All right. All right. If there is nothing else for either side, the court is going to deny the application, find you guilty. There's an affirmative finding of family violence. The court will sentence you to $1,500 fine, time and money to run concurrent. And the court will sentence you to 4 years in the prison. I'm going to show you what's entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal. Because this is a plea bargain agreement, because I followed your plea bargain agreement, and because you waive your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. Because this is a felony conviction and an affirmative finding of family violence, you're not allowed to own or possess any weapons or ammunition. If you have a question over what a weapon or ammunition is, you'll need to speak to an attorney. Do you understand? All right, good luck to you.
Judge, we do have victim impact on this case, and I believe this is here.
All right. All right, so here's the thing, everyone. I require that everyone treats everyone with respect. Just internalize what's being said. You may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome.
To be here. It has
The judge in this case deserves a round of applause for their ability to stay calm amidst a scene that's slowly spiraling into absurdity. While the defense is busy with a whole lot of communication and responsibility mumbo-jumbo, the judge is simply cutting through the nonsense like a hot knife through butter, not letting anyone off the hook with a cheap plea bargain. When the defendant tries to deny responsibility for the injuries while still clinging to the plea deal, the judge is there, cool as a cucumber, making sure that accountability is the name of the game. No jury trial drama here, just swift justice, no matter how hard the defense tries to talk circles around the truth.
Been over a year now that Ethan has been with me.
Everyone, please be quiet.
and I have noticed a big change in him. He is a wonderful boy, caring and loving, to say the least. There is not much I can say about him and what he has done for me and my family. However, it was not easy to come to this point in our lives. When Ethan was placed in my care, he had some challenges that we both had to overcome. His behavior was all over the place. We had good days and bad days. He would tell me experiences he had grown up and tell me how he was treated when he was at home. He would talk about his brothers and sister. When he felt like he did something wrong, he would go to his closet or his bedroom and stay in there until I was able to locate him and explain to him that I was not asking him to go there and there was no reason to go in there. I told him he could come out so that we can talk about what happened and see if we could find a solution to what happened, because going to the closet and bathroom was not the solution to the problem. Ethan would be defiant when he was first placed in my care. We had a couple of issues at daycare the first couple of weeks. Nothing concerning that they had to call me to get him or that he had to be expelled. He was able to complete daycare until school started in the fall. When I would take him to see his mom and siblings, it was a bit of a struggle because he didn't really want to go. And when I picked him up, he would be distanced with me. It would take a couple of days before he would be open to me and listen. Also, he would appear to be quiet and sad. When I would ask him to help around the house, he would just go to his room and wouldn't help me. After a couple of days, he would come around and start to help and would be helpful and loving and would be more affectionate. At times went on, he got comfortable with me and my parents. He would call my mom and my dad Mima and Grandpa D. He would look at them as his grandparents and would enjoy going over there to visit them. There would be times when he would ask me, when are we going to go over see them? He would even ask to spend the night as well. He loved going over there. He had stability and opportunity to see what family life can be. This summer, he also experienced his first flight. We took him to Nebraska for my nephew's wedding, who we refer to as his new cousin. He saw another side of a family, and they also treated him as one of their own. He had a great time. I can see it in his attitude and behavior. He was happy. One night, we sat down and watched a movie at my sister's house, and he just sat right next to her as we watched the movie. He did this the next day with my brother-in-law. He just sat right next to him as they watched the movie together. At the beginning, he would express to me how I was living at home and would assume that he would be treated the same way here. I would have to explain to him over and over again, that is not what we do here. We do things differently. We deal with the issue. I have seen a big change in him since he was first placed in my care a little over a year ago. He is turning into a bright, caring little man with a future. When he was first placed in my care, he appeared to be sad and not a caring. He had a negative attitude about things and things around him. He would only share with me what happened to him at home and his siblings. When I enrolled him into daycare, he didn't want to go. I was hoping that maybe he would make friends and have time to interact with kids his own age. It did take him some time to make friends and come home and tell me about them. I remember there was one child he would talk about and say that they didn't get along. I told him, remember this, you're going to change his mind and you're going to be friends.
Well, it seems like we're witnessing a true transformation here, folks. Ethan was a sad little bundle of confusion when he first arrived, stuck in his own head, hiding in closets, convinced that staying away from the world was his only option. But lo and behold, thanks to some real parenting magic, and maybe some extended patience, he's evolving into a well-adjusted, caring little man. He's gone from being a defiant, distant child to someone who's calling his new family members mom and grandpa like he's been part of the crew forever. Imagine that, attending weddings, going on flights, and even sitting down for movie nights like a regular kid. The twist? He thought he'd be treated the same way at his new home as he was before. But surprise, surprise, his new family actually knows how to treat him with respect, kindness, and stability. How dare they, right?
A couple of weeks later, they became friends. And at Ethan's birthday party, he was the only one in his daycare that showed up. He did have some challenges at times at daycare, and they made me aware of his behavior. We were able to work through them, and we were able to continue daycare throughout the summer. When it came time for him to start school, I did have some concerns. When it came time for the parent-teacher meeting, all I got was praises about him, how he was caring boy. As time went on, he would show what I would call the real Ethan. The caring and loving little boy he is and is meant to be. One of the things that impressed me is when he sees someone that needs help, he would ask me if we can help them out. There was one time during the summer, we were at a store and the guy asked if he could wash my friends for $10. And I thanked him and said no. When we went inside, Ethan looked at me and said, "I have $1. Can I give it to him?" I said, "If that is what you like to do with it, go for it." He turned around and went to the guy, and I can hear him tell him, "Here you go." And the guy said, "No, I can't take that. Thank you." I told the guy, "Please take it. He wants to give it to you." He said, "Thank you," and that Ethan was going to make him cry. I still remember that day. I will never forget that day. It's little things like this that have been able to see him grow and become a caring little boy. When we go somewhere like the park or swimming, he always wants to take extra stuff so that he can share with them, like water or maybe even a toy. This is not something that I saw in him when he was first placed with me. He would just talk about negative things in his life, and now he looks forward to living life. He's been making friends left and right everywhere he goes. I can take him to McDonald's with the playground, and he will make a friend that he calls them a friend, not just someone he met. A couple of weeks ago, I took him to a water park out of town, and while we were there, he made a friend and even exchanged numbers. At first, he would make friends, but a bit shy at first. But now, whenever I take him, he makes friends. When he plays with them, he makes sure that they are okay and makes sure that they are having as much fun as he is. He is becoming a caring, kind, and confident little boy. He is seeing that the world around him isn't always full of negativity and that he can be and is loved unconditionally.
Thank you so much, and thanks for taking care of him. All right, thank you. All right, the court is calling 2022 CR 7879, State of Texas versus Linnea Ray. Could I have parties approach and announce for the record?
Catherine Pollard for the state.
And are you Linnea Ray?
Yes.
Counsel, I'm showing you the discovery acknowledgement. Have you received all the discovery in this case, and did you review it with your client?
I have, Your Honor.
Court will find that the state is in compliance with discovery. You understand you're charged with the offense of injury to a child as a third-degree felony. The range of punishment is anywhere from 2 to 10 years in prison and up to $10,000 fine. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Counsel, has your client been able to provide you with any defenses?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you believe she has a rational as well as a factual understanding of the charges against her?
I do, Your Honor.
Do you believe she's currently competent and was legally sane at the time of the offense?
I do, Your Honor.
According to the plea bargaining agreement, punishment is to be assessed at 4 years in the prison. There's a $1,500 fine. There's an affirmative finding of family violence. The state recommends community supervision. Did you understand with an affirmative finding of family violence, you're not allowed to own or possess any weapons or ammunition?
Yes.
Did you understand with an affirmative finding of family violence, you're not allowed to be designated as primary custodial parent?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand that to be the entirety of your plea bargaining agreement?
Yes, ma'am.
Ah, yes, the judge, the true mastermind of courtroom drama. calm, collected, and so very skilled at keeping the proceedings running smoothly, like a well-oiled machine, except when it comes to those awkward silences, of course. But who wouldn't want a judge who hands out punishment with the precision of a vending machine? You want a sentence? There it is. You want community supervision? Sure, why not? Weapons ban? Oh, absolutely. No need to ask twice. They've got it all figured out. I mean, who needs a touch of compassion or flexibility when you can just check the boxes like it's another day at the office?
Defense?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that the entirety of the plea bargaining agreement?
Yes, Judge.
State?
Yes, Judge.
Next, I'm showing you outside the plea bargaining agreement, the state is requesting that your community supervision be for a term of 4 years. There be 150 hours of community service restitution, no harmful or injurious contact with Sky Ray, anger management, and parenting classes. Did you understand those are recommendations from the state and the court does not have to follow those recommendations?
Yes, ma'am.
Then to the offenses charged in the indictment, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
No contest.
State any evidence.
Yes, Judge, we'd offer what's been marked as State's Exhibit 1.
We've reviewed the document, have no objections, Your Honor, other than as modified.
Did you understand that today the state will be presenting evidence in the form of witnesses' statements and police reports, but most importantly, there'll be no live testimony?
Yes, ma'am.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived and consented to stipulation of testimony and stipulations. The court will accept into evidence states exhibits 1 and attachments, and we'll go off the record. Excuse me. Why are you at the door? Either you're in or you're out. All right, the court will review states exhibits 1 and attachments for sufficiency. All right, after reviewing states exhibits 1 and attachments, the court will find there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty. The court will find you guilty. Are you proceeding with sentencing?
We are, Judge. Wait, please, sir.
Anything you want to say on behalf of your client?
First, I would note that she has completed the anger management within the jail. She'll get her certificate next week, and there is a CPS plan. No, excuse me.
Yes.
And there is a CPS plan in effect. Be compliant with it.
All right, how old is this child?
My daughter just turned 5 this year.
All right, so why would you be hitting your child because she doesn't want to eat?
I'm lost control.
But you said in the police report I'm reading, you said that you didn't want her anymore. So I don't understand this. I don't understand someone repeatedly slapping a 5-year-old for not eating. So how do you think that, what do you think that did to her day? I'm sorry? I mean, what did that do to her day? So she's at a restaurant, probably a restaurant that she did not choose to go to. And you're slapping her, according to you, because she won't eat food. And then you're pushing the stroller. And I'm assuming you're pushing it angrily because then the people at the restaurant said you told her and told everybody you didn't want her anymore.
Your Honor, if I may, this event occurred in the dining area of the Havens for Hope.
Yeah.
It's not in it.
Well, that's even worse. Because one, you now have a child who's staying at Haven for Hope. And I don't think she bought into, hey, let me be born to this mother where I'm placed at Haven for Hope. So where is the child now?
My son's grandparents.
And you say your son's grandparents. I mean, how are they related to her?
They're not.
So now she's with people she doesn't even know, who doesn't really have, well, they really don't have a biological connection to her.
They know her. They spend time with her.
Yeah. And you don't know how they're treating her though,
No, they take care of all of my children.
because you're not.
No, because they love them as their grandchildren. Even my children aren't biologically related.
And what is Child Protective Services doing?
I agreed to allow her to stay there till I successfully complete my program.
Yeah, I'm not going to order. I know outside the agreement, it's no harmful or injurious contact.
This whole scene sounds like the courtroom version of a family reality show. We've got slapping incidents, emotional outbursts, and random strangers suddenly becoming grandparents in the drama of the day. The judge, while probably internally questioning every parenting decision made in this case, keeps it cool and plays the role of the calm voice of reason. It's almost like a parenting class that no one signed up for, with a hefty dose of "why would you hit your 5-year-old?" thrown in for dramatic effect. And in the end, we're left with one question. How did we get here? Oh, right. The magical journey of not eating lunch and making life decisions in a restaurant. The judge sure has their hands full, but honestly, who wouldn't need a strong coffee after this courtroom chaos?
I'm not going to allow you to have contact with her until you go through some type of therapy. It takes a lot for a parent to have birthed a child in the world, right? Or either for a father to have a child to, in public, in front of everybody, hit that child several times and then say, you don't want them anymore. I can't even imagine how she feels with you telling her that. Do you know what that did to her confidence? And do you know how that made her feel? Because on the planet, everybody is hoping that their mom or their dad loves them more than everybody else. Everybody is hoping that as a child, you can always run to your mom for protection. And instead of doing that, you hit her in front of everybody. And guess what? Do you know what embarrassment that probably caused her? And what it cost her because she realizes that maybe her mom don't love her, and then you're saying you don't want her anymore? And I'm not trying to be mean to you, but you need to realize what you did and how that affected her. Because now her confidence is probably less than zero. Now she probably thinks her mom doesn't love her, and the embarrassment of it all in front of everybody. And I'm sure there were other children probably there too. And who knows what they probably said to her afterwards, maybe, ha ha, your mom doesn't love you. So she's already dealing with the fact that she doesn't have a mom who can have her in a home or an apartment, but has her at Haven for Hope. And she's dealing with all of that. And who knows what she's dealing with at school, because children can be cruel. And people say children are cruel because they don't know any better. It's because their parents don't teach them any better. So she's at school, and I'm sure they probably know she's staying at Haven for Hope. And then she has all of this other stuff that she's dealing with. And she doesn't have her own little private space where she can go and just decompress. Instead, she's having to deal with you, and you're putting your adult problems on her. I am not going to allow her to have contact with this child until she goes through some kind of therapy, and the child goes through therapy to see, does she want to be with mom? Does she trust mom to take care of her and not injure her? So that's what I'm doing. So knowing that, do you all still want to continue with the agreement? All right. This is what the court is going to do. The court is going to sentence you to 4 years in prison, suspended and probated for 6 years. There's a $1,500 fine that will be probated. There's an affirmative finding of family violence. There's to be no contact with minors. There's to be no contact with Sky Ray. And counsel, you can approach after she's completed therapy and after the child has had some therapy. You can always approach and ask me to lift the no contact order. But for now, there's to be no contact.
Understand.
There's 150 hours of community service restitution. There's to be parenting classes with Triple T. Of course, this Child Protective Services is giving her parenting classes. The court will accept that. I don't want any overlapping of services. So why are you at Haven for Hope?
Your Honor, if I may, one question.
Yes.
Parenting classes may involve some supervised visitation between her and the child. But you preventing
She will have to approach the court. And when you approach the court on that, the CPS worker needs to be here and also the child's attorney.
Understand.
All right. So why were you at Haven for Hope?
Well, someone's clearly been taking notes on how to hand out reality checks with a side of tough love. The judge here didn't just sit there. They basically took a magnifying glass to the situation, dissecting every poor decision like a pro. It's like they were channeling a parenting seminar while simultaneously serving up some hard truths. I mean, you can almost hear the "are you serious?" echoing through the courtroom when the whole "I don't want my child anymore" bit was mentioned. But hey, no big deal, right? Just throw some therapy in there, sprinkle on a no contact order, and let the healing begin. It's almost like the judge was saying, You think this is just a slap on the wrist? Nah, let's make sure you don't make the same mistake twice, and the child doesn't have to keep living your mess.
I lived in my apartment for 7 years. The caseworker that had my file, she quit. So everybody that was on her desk got delayed. So my two options was to renew my lease for a couple of months and then have a broken lease once my new voucher came in. I only needed to wait 30 days until my new voucher came in. I already did all the paperwork, everything was done. I was just staying at Haven for Hope until my voucher kicked in. I found an apartment within the first week. It was a brand new apartment, a 2-bedroom. I was just waiting for my voucher to come in.
All right. So why, are you not working?
I get SSI,
For what?
mental health.
I'm gonna want field visits probation. Sorry, it's gonna be 4 times per month, and they need to go into the home and make sure that there are no minors in the home. Oh, I'm sorry, anger management classes. And make sure that's intensive. And she's gonna have to do anger management classes other than what she's been given at the jail. Probation, is there anything else she needs? All right. Ms. Ray, is there anything else you need from the court? Because this is a felony conviction, you're not allowed to own or possess any weapons or ammunition. If you have a question over what a weapon or ammunition is, you'll need to speak to an attorney. Do you understand? And also, because this is an affirmative finding of family violence, you're not allowed to own or possess any weapons or ammunition. All right, good luck to you. We can go off the record. Here's the thing. If you cannot raise your children, if you cannot be patient with them, then you need not raise them. Someone else needs to do that.
The judge really didn't hold back here, did they? It's like they had a one-way ticket to a truth bomb that couldn't be defused. First, the whole, you get a break because you're waiting for your voucher excuse. Nice try, but not enough to escape some cold, hard reality. And don't even get me started on the no weapons bit. It's almost like the judge is saying, if you can't handle a child's temper tantrum, let's make sure you're not in the position to escalate anything else. And, of course, the cherry on top. If you can't deal with your own kid, maybe you just shouldn't have one in the first place. Ouch. This courtroom just became the ultimate parenting intervention.